Imagine sitting at your own birthday dinner, smiling, sipping wine, surrounded by people you thought loved you. And then your own sister stands up, holding hands with your husband, and announces she's pregnant with his child. Everyone froze. But me? I smiled because they didn't know what I knew. Kyle had a vasectomy. If you want to hear how I shattered their little secret in front of the whole room, stay with me. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more crazy revenge stories like this one. I'm Savannah. I'm 29. I've spent the last 3 years building a quiet life in Briar Glen Estates. I work in HR. I keep to myself. But this story, it changed everything. It all started 2 months before my birthday. I was never the loud one. That was always Jessica, my younger sister by 2 years. She was the firecracker, the center of attention. Wherever we went, family dinners, school events, even funerals, somehow, Jessica always stole the spotlight. My mom said I was mature and sensible. Translation: I didn't make waves. So, when Kyle proposed to me at a beach in Miami, everyone was shocked. Especially Jessica. She'd always teased that no man would ever fall head over heels for someone so boring. I thought she was joking. I laughed with her. I was used to it. That was our rhythm. I was the stable one. She was the storm. And Kyle, he was my calm. Or so I thought. Kyle was a mechanic. Solid guy. Quiet. Listened more than he talked. We met at a tire shop when I had a flat and no one to call. He fixed my tire, and 6 months later, he was fixing dinner in my kitchen every night. He liked old trucks, hot sauce on everything, and Sunday naps. Nothing flashy. Just real. We got married a year later. Simple ceremony. Backyard, string lights, no drama. Jessica wore wine red and toasted with fake cheer. I caught her looking at Kyle a little too long during the vows, but I chalked it up to her usual flair. I ignored it. Big mistake. 2 years into our marriage, I suggested we try for a baby. Kyle hesitated. I thought it was normal. Nerves. He said, let's wait a while. Just enjoy us. Fair. I let it go. Then the waiting turned into him sleeping on the couch half the time. Work stress, he said. Tired, he said. I believed him. I always believed people. I didn't want to fight. I wanted peace. The only person who questioned it was my friend Lauren. Save, something's off, she said. He's distant. He's never around. You sure there's not someone else? I laughed. Kyle's not like that. Oh, Savannah. Fast forward to a month before my birthday. Jessica called me from out of nowhere. She was sweet. Almost too sweet. Hey, sis. I was thinking, you never do anything big for your birthday. Let me throw you a dinner. Just close friends and family. No excuses. I hesitated. I don't really like being the center of... That's the point, she interrupted. One night. For you. Come on. I already booked the place. I should have known then. Jessica never did anything unless it somehow benefited her. But I was tired. Tired of being suspicious. Tired of being the one always playing defense. So I said yes. The dinner was booked at a restaurant called Elridge and Sons. Fancy place downtown with candlelight, private booths, and wood-paneled walls. The kind of place you'd go to propose, not celebrate turning 29. Kyle barely reacted when I told him. Sounds good, he mumbled, eyes glued to his phone. Again, I planned my outfit for days. Simple black dress. New earrings. Curled my hair. I wanted to feel special. Lauren helped me get ready. You sure you want to do this? She asked, watching me from the edge of my bed. I looked in the mirror. I just want one night to feel like I matter. She nodded. Then own it. The night of the dinner, it rained hard. Heavy drops hit the windshield as we drove to the restaurant. Kyle was quiet the whole ride. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. I thought it was the weather. Inside, Jessica had gone all out. Balloons, a custom menu, a huge banner that read, Happy Birthday, Savannah! It was beautiful. I blinked back tears. Maybe I'd been wrong about her. She greeted us with a squeal and a tight hug. "You look stunning," she said, eyeing Kyle for a second too long. "Come, sit at the head of the table." The guests trickled in. Lauren, my parents, a few coworkers, some distant cousins. Everyone laughed. Toasted. The wine flowed. Then something weird happened. Halfway through the meal, Kyle stood up and walked away. No explanation. Just walked out the room. Jessica watched him go, then gave me a shrug. "Probably just a call from the shop," she said, sipping her wine. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then Jessica stood. "I'd like to say something," she said loudly, clinking her glass. Everyone turned to look at her. "I know tonight is Savannah's special night, but I can't keep this in any longer. I'm pregnant." The room gasped. I blinked. My mom clapped her hands. "Oh my God, Jessica, that's wonderful." Jessica held up a hand. "I'm not finished," she said. My stomach twisted. Something in her eyes. She turned to me. "I'm pregnant with Kyle's baby." It felt like every breath had been sucked out of the room. My father dropped his fork. Lauren's mouth hung open. My mom's smile shattered like glass. Jessica smiled wide, too wide. "I'm sorry, Savannah, but we didn't mean for this to happen. Love just happened." My world spun. The room blurred. But I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I stood up slowly, walked around the table, all eyes on me, and I said, "You're lying." The words dropped like stones in a silent lake. Jessica blinked, caught off guard by my calm voice. "I'm not," she said, her voice shaky now. "Savannah, I know this is hard, but Kyle and I cut her off. "You're lying. You're not pregnant with Kyle's baby." My mother gasped. Jessica's eyes narrowed. She wasn't expecting that. She thought I'd fall apart. Cry. Maybe even slap her. That would have made her feel powerful. But she didn't know what I knew. Before anyone could speak again, Kyle returned to the room. His hair was damp from the rain, and his eyes darted between everyone, sensing the tension. He looked straight at Jessica. "You told them." Jessica nodded as if proud. Kyle's face went pale. "She announced it," I said, crossing my arms. "Said she's carrying your baby. Is that true, Kyle?" He didn't answer. Jessica reached for his hand, but he pulled away. That small action lit a spark in the room. I don't want to do this here," Kyle mumbled, looking at his feet. "Too late," Lauren said coldly from across the table. "You already did." I turned back to the table. "Let's be clear. I'm not hurt, not shocked, just disappointed." Jessica scoffed. "Why are you acting like you're above all this? You've always been jealous of me." That made me laugh. A cold, short laugh that made her flinch. Jealous? Of someone who cheats, lies, and ruins her own sister's marriage. I asked, "No, Jessica, I'm not jealous. I'm embarrassed for you." "Why don't you just admit it?" she shouted, losing her cool. "You lost him." My mom stood up then. "Girls, please not here." "No, Mom," I said firmly. "Let her talk. Let her dig her grave." Jessica's voice cracked. "You've always thought you were better than me. With your little HR job, your neat little life, your perfect image. Well, guess what, Save? Kyle picked me, not you." Kyle still hadn't said a word, and I hadn't revealed the truth yet. Not yet. Not tonight. I looked Jessica dead in the eyes and said, "Then I guess we'll see how this plays out." Then I walked out. Simple as that. The rain was still pouring. It soaked through my heels and dress, but I didn't care. Lauren ran after me. "Save! Wait up!" I kept walking until we reached her car. She unlocked it, and we both jumped inside, soaked and out of breath. "Are you okay?" she asked. I didn't answer. I just stared out the window, heart pounding. Not with sadness, but with rage. "They think I'm stupid," I whispered. "They think I didn't notice." Lauren sat quietly. They have no idea he got a vasectomy last year, I said finally. They think I don't know. Her eyes widened. Wait, what? I nodded. We agreed we weren't ready for kids, so Kyle got the procedure done. I went with him. Sat in the waiting room. Bought him ice cream after. Oh my God, Lauren whispered. So she's lying? Or she's pregnant by someone else? I shrugged. Either way, it's not Kyle's baby. That was the first time Lauren smiled that night. You're gonna ruin them, she said. I turned to her and gave a little smile. No, I'm going to let them ruin themselves. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't break down or call my mom. I went home, changed out of my soaked clothes, and sat at the kitchen table with a notebook. I made a list. Find a lawyer. Pull money from joint savings. Move Kyle's name off utilities. Gather texts and emails. Talk to Dr. Banner, his urologist. Step by step, I would destroy them both. I stayed at Lauren's place for a week after the dinner. Kyle didn't call. Not once. Jessica tried texting me once. I didn't want it to go down like that, she wrote. But I'm happy now. I didn't respond. Instead, I met with a lawyer named Martha, who specialized in divorce cases involving infidelity. When I told her everything, she leaned back in her chair and said, You're sitting on a gold mine of revenge. The key is patience. Don't rush it. I'm not, I told her. I want it to burn slowly. We filed the divorce papers the next day, but didn't serve him. Not yet. I needed him distracted, blind, overconfident. A week after the dinner, my mom called. She sounded tired. Savannah, your sister's saying some wild things. Like what? I asked. That you were abusive to Kyle. That he left you because he felt unsafe. That you were trying to trap him into having a baby. I laughed. Really? The man who literally had surgery so we wouldn't have kids. She didn't mention that. Of course not. Then she said the one thing that almost made me lose it. She said you might have known about the pregnancy and were jealous. That's why you made a scene. I clenched the phone. I didn't make a scene. She did. And if she wants war, I'll give it to her. Mom sighed. I just want peace between you two. There's no peace with someone who stabs you in the back and brags about it, I said. Mom, don't call me again unless you've chosen a side. I hung up. Lauren came home that night with pizza and wine. To new beginnings, she said, holding up her glass. I toasted back. To quiet storms. I went through Kyle's drawers the next morning. He was still crashing with Jessica. Or maybe at a hotel, I didn't care. But his things were still in our house. I found receipts, notes, a hotel key card, photos on his laptop. One of them was dated 3 weeks before the dinner, Jessica and Kyle in robes, kissing in front of a fireplace. The timestamp was during a weekend he claimed he was at a mechanic conference in Nevada. I saved everything on a flash drive and made copies. Then I checked our bank account. Jessica had been using Kyle's debit card to buy spa packages, lingerie, even a plane ticket to Miami. They were bold, sloppy, perfect. Then I saw something I didn't expect. An incoming wire transfer. From Jessica. $500. Labeled baby stuff. Why would she pay Kyle? That question nagged at me for days. Then it hit me. Jessica might not be lying about being pregnant. She might just be wrong about who the father is. And the only thing worse than betrayal is public humiliation. That's when I started planning the birthday do-over dinner. Same location, same guests, same setting. But this time, I'd be in control. And when I stood in that room again, holding the real truth in my hands, they'd wish they'd never messed with me. Because what Jessica didn't know was, I had the paternity test, and I was ready to use it. I made the reservation 2 weeks in advance. Same place, same time, Elridge and Sons, the scene of the crime. I called it a belated birthday dinner, which wasn't unusual. After the chaos of Jessica's surprise ambush, people assumed I wanted a quiet, Second chance at celebrating with the right crowd. I invited everyone who'd been at the original dinner, my parents, cousins, a few coworkers, even Jessica and Kyle. I wanted them there. I needed them there. Jessica replied right away with "Sounds fun. Can't wait to clear the air." Kyle didn't respond at all, but that was fine. Silence was just another form of guilt. Lauren helped me with everything. She even picked out my outfit, a fitted navy jumpsuit with gold jewelry. Clean, sharp, confident. "You ready?" she asked as we stood outside the restaurant that evening. I looked through the glass doors. My family was already inside. Jessica was laughing, hand on her small stomach bump, basking in fake warmth. Kyle was sitting next to her, quiet as usual. I nodded. "Let's do this." When I walked in, everyone turned. "Savannah," my mom said, standing up. "You look beautiful, honey." "Thanks," I smiled. "Thanks for coming." I walked to the head of the table, my place, and sat down without asking. This time I was in charge. Jessica raised her glass. "To peace," she said with a smirk. I raised mine. "To truth." The meals started quietly. People chatted about work, weather, travel. I waited patiently, listening to every word Jessica said, as if cataloging her lies. She was glowing, probably not from pregnancy, but from pride. Pride is loud. Pride blinds people. That's why she didn't see what was coming. Midway through the meal, I stood up. "I'd like to say something," I said, clinking my fork against my glass. Jessica froze. The room went quiet. I smiled sweetly. A couple weeks ago we had a disruption, and I didn't get to say much that night. So I've decided to say it now. Jessica opened her mouth, but I raised a hand. "Please, let me finish." She closed it. "I'm grateful to everyone here tonight. Not because everything's perfect, but because life taught me a valuable lesson this year. When people show you who they are, believe them." Kyle shifted in his seat. Jessica stared at me like I was speaking another language. "So tonight," I continued, "I wanted to bring a gift. One that clears the air. Not just for me, but for everyone." I reached into my purse and pulled out a white envelope. "This," I said, "is a paternity test." Gasps echoed around the table. Jessica stood up. "Are you serious?" "Very," I replied. "You see, in order to claim someone's carrying your husband's child, the husband has to be capable of fathering children." I turned to Kyle. "Remember Dr. Banner, Kyle? The one who performed your vasectomy last year." Kyle looked like he wanted to disappear. I placed a second envelope on the table. "That's the medical report from his clinic, confirming the procedure, confirming the success rate, confirming that you haven't fathered a single thing since last October." Jessica's mouth dropped open. She turned to Kyle. You said it wasn't done yet." He flinched. "I didn't want kids, Jess." My mom gasped. "Wait, so the baby—" I opened the envelope and held up the paternity test. "I had the baby's DNA tested last week. She left a water bottle at my house. My lawyer handled the rest." Jessica lunged forward. "You had my baby's DNA tested. You're insane." "Am I?" I said calmly. "Or just smart enough to protect myself from liars?" She tried to grab the paper, but I stepped back. "It's not Kyle's baby," I said. Silence. Total, heavy, perfect silence. Then my dad stood. "Whose is it, Jessica?" She looked like a trapped animal. Tears welled in her eyes. "It was one time," she whispered. Kyle stood up so fast his chair toppled. "Who?" Jessica didn't answer. Kyle roared, "Who?" She looked down. "Connor. From the gym." Kyle stormed out. Jessica followed him, crying. And I sat back down and took a bite of my dessert. Chocolate ganache. Perfectly sweet. My mom whispered, "Savannah, I'm so sorry." I didn't answer. I just smiled and said, "I warned her." People started leaving quietly after that. Lauren stayed with me until the end. "You feel better?" she asked. "No," I said. "I feel clean." That was the fall of the House of Lies. But I wasn't finished. 2 days later, Kyle called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. "Hello." "I didn't know," he said. His voice was low, cracked. "I swear, I didn't know she was sleeping with someone else. She told me she got pregnant by accident. I thought maybe it happened before the procedure kicked in." "You didn't tell her you got one?" "No." "Why?" "I didn't want her to think I was choosing you over her." That stung. "So you kept both of us in the dark." I said. He didn't reply. "I served the divorce papers yesterday, Kyle. You'll get them this week." I figured. There was a pause. "She's keeping the baby." "She should. It's hers." Then I said something that surprised even me. "I'm not mad at you anymore." He breathed out, shaky. "Why not?" "Because you were never worth it." Click. I blocked his number. Later that night, Jessica texted me. A long paragraph of rambling blame, fake apologies, and backhanded insults. She said I ruined her life. I didn't reply, but I did post a photo online, me and Lauren at a lake house, drinks in hand, sunglasses on. The caption: "Losing weight feels good. Losing dead weight feels better." The post got 413 likes and a DM from someone I hadn't spoken to since college. Small wins. But I wasn't done. The final chapter of my revenge? Oh, it was still coming. Because what Jessica didn't know was that Kyle's job, the one she thought she could live off of, he was about to lose it, and I would be the reason why. It all started with a coffee mug. Not just any mug, Kyle's favorite one. Black, chipped on the rim, with the words "Grease Monkey for Life" printed in bold red letters. He'd had it for years. I gave it to him our first Christmas together. I found it in the kitchen cabinet the day I boxed up his last things. I could have smashed it. Instead, I smiled and placed it carefully in the box labeled Kyle, Garage. Then I walked it straight to the curb and left it there for the trash. That same day, I made a call to an old friend, Dean. We went to high school together. Now he worked at the city's Department of Transportation, the same city contract that funded the garage Kyle worked at. "Hey," I said when he picked up. "I have something you might want to know." "Savannah?" "Whoa. Been years. What's up?" "I need to ask you something, off the record." He was silent for a second. "Go on." "You remember Kyle?" "Your husband." "Ex," I corrected. "Right. Yeah, I remember him." "Well, did you know he's been doing under-the-table work? Charging customers for personal repairs using city resources." Dean cursed. "Seriously." 3 separate people messaged me after I posted about the divorce. All of them had the same story. He told them to pay cash. No invoice. Parts from the city shop. "I can send you proof." "You have screenshots." Receipts. Messages. Photos of parts with city barcodes. All of it. Dean whistled. "Send it to me. He's gone if this checks out." I sent everything that night. And waited. It took 4 days. On the 5th day, a city rep showed up at Kyle's garage with a clipboard and a stern face. I wasn't there, but Lauren's cousin Trevor was. He worked across the street and texted me live updates. "Yo, city's suit just rolled up to the shop. Kyle looks like he saw a ghost. Now they're in the office. Door shut." 10 minutes later, he's pacing, red-faced. Oh man, they brought a box. He's cleaning out his locker. I stared at my phone and grinned. By the end of the day, Kyle was officially unemployed. I didn't even have to lift a finger in person. That night, Jessica called again. I let it ring. She left a voicemail. "You're cruel, Savannah. You're evil. Kyle lost his job. We can't afford the baby now. I hope you're happy." I was. But revenge wasn't about ruining people. Not really. It was about balance. About restoring what they stole from you. They took my peace, my dignity, and my birthday. So I took their comfort, their pride, and their safety net. Fair trade. But it didn't end there. 2 weeks later, I saw Jessica in the grocery store. She was standing by the checkout line, arguing with the cashier about a declined card. Her hair was in a messy bun, no makeup, eyes puffy, belly showing just slightly. I almost walked away, but I didn't. I stepped into the line behind her and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Need help, Jessica?" She turned slowly, her face drained of color. "You," she hissed. The cashier looked between us, confused. Jessica yanked the second card from her purse. It worked. She grabbed her bags and stormed out without another word. The cashier gave me a look. "You know her." I smiled. "Used to." Then I treated myself to flowers. Tulips. Bright yellow. Outside the store, I saw her sitting in her car, crying into her hands. For a moment, I almost felt bad. Almost. But then I remembered the birthday dinner. Her smirk. Her words. The way she grabbed Kyle's hand like she'd won. And just like that, the pity faded. Later that week, I got a call from Martha, my lawyer. "Divorce finalized," she said. "Clean split. You keep the house. No alimony." He waved it. "Why?" I asked, surprised. She chuckled. "Guess he thought he might get dragged worse in court. He's not in a good place right now." I leaned back in my chair. "Thanks, Martha, for everything." "One more thing," she added. "That real estate license you asked me to help you apply for? It went through." I blinked. "Already?" "Yup. You're official. Time to sell houses and make bank." I laughed. "Guess it's my turn to rebuild." "You earned it." The next morning, I took down all the wedding photos in the hallway, replaced them with paintings. Mountains, lakes, things that didn't lie or cheat. Lauren, and I painted the guest room and turned it into a mini office. "I love this for you," she said, handing me a coffee. "You're becoming someone else." "No," I said, sipping. "I'm becoming who I was before they broke me." That weekend, I hosted a girls' night at my place. Wine, games, laughter, real smiles. Someone asked, "So, what's next for you?" I thought for a second. Living, healing, and maybe someday forgiving. Even Jessica. I paused. Maybe, but I'm not rushing it. Some people need to feel the cold before they appreciate the warmth. Everyone nodded, but the universe had one more twist waiting for me. 2 weeks later, I got a certified letter in the mail from a law firm. The sender? Jessica. I opened it slowly, heart pounding, eyes scanning line by line. She was suing me for emotional damages, claiming I publicly humiliated her and caused distress during a sensitive pregnancy. I couldn't believe it. I called Martha immediately. "Tell me you're kidding," she said. "I wish I was." "This is going to backfire," she said. "Hard." "Good," I replied. "Let it." Because if she wanted a courtroom, then I'd give her one. And this time, she wouldn't walk out of it smiling. Court? Jessica had officially lost her mind. I sat in Martha's office with the lawsuit spread across the desk. Her claims were outrageous, emotional distress, public embarrassment, intentional cruelty. She even accused me of sabotaging her unborn child's future. Martha slid the papers back into a folder. "This won't hold up," she said. "She has no evidence of anything illegal or malicious." "She's just trying to flip the narrative," I said. "Make me the villain because her fairy tale crashed and burned." Well, she's about to learn that being loud doesn't mean being right. We filed a response denying all her claims and attaching exhibits, photos, receipts, statements, the paternity test, Kyle's termination letter. Martha even included a character affidavit from one of Jessica's former friends who'd been iced out after she confronted Jessica about the affair. Still, I couldn't shake the nerves. I wasn't scared of losing. I was just tired. Tired of constantly being dragged back into a storm I never asked for. The court date was set for 3 weeks later. In the meantime, I kept busy. The real estate work picked up faster than I thought. My first listing was a charming 3-bedroom in Briar Glen Estates. Funny how life circles back. The sellers were kind, and the buyers were a newlywed couple. Watching them reminded me of who I used to be, hopeful, trusting. Lauren helped stage the home. Afterward, we sat on the porch drinking iced coffee. "You really sued your own sister?" she said, shaking her head. "That's a level of toxic I didn't even know existed." "She didn't sue me," I corrected. "She sued the version of me that used to take her abuse and stay silent. That version is gone." Lauren raised her cup. "Cheers to that." Kyle texted me the night before the court date. "I didn't know she was going to sue. I swear, I think she's just desperate." I didn't reply. Let him drown in the silence he once used against me. The morning of court, I wore a navy pantsuit and pinned my hair back. Calm, focused. Martha met me outside the courthouse. "You ready?" she asked. "Let's finish this." Inside, the courtroom was chilly. Jessica sat on the opposite bench, holding her belly dramatically and dabbing fake tears from her eyes. Her lawyer, a greasy-looking man in an ill-fitting suit, whispered something into her ear. She nodded and looked straight ahead, avoiding my gaze. The judge entered, and the case was called. Jessica's lawyer went first. He painted her as a poor, pregnant woman, publicly shamed and abandoned by everyone she loved. He talked about deep emotional trauma, public exposure, and loss of stability. When it was Martha's turn, she stood calmly. "Your Honor, everything the plaintiff claims was a direct result of her own actions. She had an affair with her sister's husband. She publicly announced a false paternity, and the defendant's only retaliation was to reveal the truth using documented medical and legal evidence. The emotional fallout was caused by her own deception, not my client's response to it." Then she handed over the exhibits. The judge flipped through the file, his eyebrows raised more than once. Then it was my turn. The judge asked if I wanted to speak. I stood. "Your Honor, I didn't humiliate my sister. I exposed a lie that she told in front of our entire family at my birthday dinner. She came for me when I wasn't even looking her way. I didn't plan revenge. I just defended myself the only way I could by telling the truth." Jessica's lawyer objected, claiming emotional bias. The judge waved him off. "Overruled. Sit down." Jessica took the stand next. She sniffled, cried, talked about how I ruined her relationship, how Kyle was depressed, how she had trouble sleeping, and was scared to show her face in public. Then the judge asked the one question that made her stutter. "Ms. Jessica, did you or did you not lie about the child's paternity in front of your family?" She blinked. I didn't know he had the vasectomy." "That's not what I asked," the judge said. "Did you lie?" She paused. "Yes." Silence. "Thank you. That's all I needed." 30 minutes later, the case was dismissed. Just like that. As we walked out of the courtroom, Jessica rushed after me. "Wait," she shouted. I turned. She was crying again, but this time it looked real. "I never wanted it to go this far," she sobbed. "I was just scared. Everything's falling apart. You should have thought of that before destroying your own sister's marriage. I made a mistake." "You made a choice," I said, "and you don't get to run from it now." She looked like she wanted to collapse, but I walked away, and this time she didn't follow. Outside, the sun was warm. For the first time in months, it didn't feel heavy. Lauren met me for dinner that night. We laughed. We toasted. We celebrated. "This is it," she said. "You're finally free." "Not just free," I said. "Focused." Because something happened in that courtroom. Not to Jessica. To me. I realized I didn't need revenge to win. I already had everything she thought she could take. My peace. My future. My self-worth. But just when I thought the story was over, just when I thought Jessica couldn't surprise me again, I got a letter. Not an email. Not a text. A handwritten letter in a pink envelope. I opened it slowly, expecting more rage. Instead, it was something else entirely. A confession. One that changed everything. The envelope was soft pink, delicate, like something from a bridal shower. My name was written on the front in cursive, the same handwriting Jessica used to use when she was still just my little sister, before all the lies. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the envelope like it might explode. Lauren watched from the doorway. "Are you seriously opening that?" "I don't know," I whispered. "Part of me wants to burn it." "But the other part," she asked, "wants answers." So I opened it. The paper inside was folded neatly into thirds. Light perfume clung to it. The ink was dark blue, and the first words punched me straight in the chest. "Savannah, I know I don't deserve your time, but please read this." I kept reading. Jessica's letter was messy, riddled with excuses, yes, but also regret. Real regret. Not the fake, performative kind she'd spilled in court. This time it felt different. She admitted that she'd been jealous of me for years. Not because of looks or money, but because, in her words, "You always had this piece in you, like you knew who you were. I've never had that." She talked about how Kyle never really wanted her, how he kept comparing her to me, how he made her feel small when the affair started to spiral out of control. She admitted to cheating on him, too. Said the baby's real father, Connor, left town the moment she told him she was pregnant. I was alone. I panicked. I convinced myself that Kyle would step up if he thought the baby was his, she wrote. But all I did was destroy everything. Then came the final part. I want to keep the baby, but I don't want her to grow up around lies like I did. I want to be better, and if you ever decide to be in her life, I would be grateful. She should know the aunt who stood up for herself. I sat there, stunned. Lauren crossed the room and sat beside me. She wrote all that. I nodded. She's still a mess, she added, but maybe she's starting to realize what she did. Maybe, I whispered. I folded the letter and placed it in the drawer. I wasn't ready to forgive Jessica, but a small, tiny part of me respected her for finally facing the truth. Still, I needed space. So I booked a trip. Just me. 2 weeks in Colorado, nestled in a small lodge overlooking the mountains. No service, no drama, just nature and silence. I hiked, journaled, and sat by fires every night, listening to the wind instead of people's opinions. And somewhere around day 6, I let go, not just of Jessica and Kyle, but of the fear that their betrayal had planted in me. The fear that I wasn't enough, that I didn't deserve real love, that being quiet meant being weak. None of that was true. I came back lighter, more grounded, and ready to build the life I chose. Back in Briar Glen Estates, I dove into work, sold 3 more homes, hosted my first open house solo. I even got asked to speak at a local women's brunch on resilience. People started calling me that real estate girl who took back her power. Funny how fast your story changes when you decide to rewrite it yourself. Then, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, while checking emails at a cafe, a woman approached my table. "Excuse me," she said softly. "Are you Savannah?" I looked up. She was around my age. Blonde hair. Nervous smile. "Yes." She pulled out a chair. "I'm Rachel, Kyle's ex from way back. We dated years before you two met." I blinked. "Okay. I've been meaning to talk to you. I saw your name in a real estate newsletter and, well, there's something I think you should know." I set my coffee down. Rachel took a breath. When we were together, Kyle lied about a lot. Not just little stuff. Big things. Cheating. Stealing. Using other people's credit cards. My heart skipped. She continued. "When I saw everything that happened with Jessica, I realized he hasn't changed. And he left me with debt. Thousands of dollars. I never recovered. I just wanted to warn you. He's not just a bad husband, he's dangerous." I leaned back in my chair, stunned. "And he's in Chicago now," she added. He left town last week. Rumor is he's using a fake name. I heard it from a mutual friend. Chicago. Jessica didn't mention that. Maybe she didn't know. Or maybe he left her too. I thanked Rachel and gave her my number. After she left, I sat still, heart pounding. Kyle had vanished, and that meant the chaos he left behind would fall fully on Jessica. That night, I got one more text from her. He's gone. That was all it said. No emotion, no punctuation, just truth. Lauren and I were watching a movie when it came through. I showed her the message. She glanced at it, then handed it back to me. Not your mess anymore. I nodded. Nope, but it might be her turning point. What are you going to do? I'm going to live, keep growing, and if she wants to change, maybe I'll let her. In her own time, on her own path. Lauren smiled. Proud of you, Save. Thanks, I said, eyes on the night sky outside. The storm had passed, but I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was rising, and just when I thought everything had settled, something wild happened. I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. When I answered, a deep voice said, "Is this Savannah? This is Detective Owens from Chicago PD. We've located Kyle Anderson, and we have some questions we think you might be able to help us with." The words hit like a punch to the stomach. Detective Owens, Chicago PD. I sat frozen on my couch, gripping the phone so tight my knuckles turned white. Yes, I said slowly. This is Savannah. I'm calling in reference to Kyle Anderson, the detective continued. We have him in custody for suspected fraud involving several identities and financial records. Your name came up during our preliminary investigation. My breath caught. Why would I be involved? Your name's connected to a joint business license application he submitted 2 months ago, under a fake address. We think he used your information to try and start a front business. I closed my eyes. He had access to my documents, old tax forms, even my social. Of course he did. Do I need a lawyer? I asked. Not unless you were aware of it, which, by the sound of your voice, I doubt. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. We'd like you to come in and answer a few questions. Just routine. Make sure you're not legally tied to anything he's doing. When? Tomorrow morning. I'll send the details. We hung up. Lauren walked in from the kitchen with popcorn and a glass of wine. Hey, you look like you saw a ghost. Worse, I said. Kyle's been arrested. Fraud. Fake identities. He used my name. Her mouth dropped. Are you serious? I nodded. She sat down beside me. That guy's a walking disaster. I know, I whispered. And somehow he's still trying to drag me down. But I wasn't the same girl from that birthday dinner. Not anymore. The next morning, I drove to Chicago with every document I could find. My lawyer, Martha, met me outside the precinct. She'd offered to drive, but I needed to face this myself. Inside, I met Detective Owens. Tall, black suit, firm handshake. He didn't seem like the type to fall for excuses. We went through the motions, ID check, signatures, security clearance. Then the questioning began. Did you sign this business registration? He asked, sliding over a document. I looked. My name was there, neatly printed. No, I said. That's not my signature. He nodded. We figured, but we need the denial on record. Was Kyle planning something bigger? I asked. We believe so. This wasn't his first attempt. He was running multiple scams across several states. False startups, credit lines under fake names. He used your clean record as bait. I shook my head. He always said he hated paperwork, that he trusted me with forms. I thought he just didn't want to deal with it. He was grooming you, Owen said. Even back then. My stomach churned. How long will he be in jail? I asked. Too early to say, but he's facing real time. That should have made me feel satisfied. It didn't, because even though justice was catching up to Kyle. Jessica was still out there, alone, pregnant, left holding a future built on lies. I couldn't ignore that anymore. On my way home, I stopped by her place. It was a modest, one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town, far from where she used to live with our parents. No fancy decorations, just a small wind chime by the door. I knocked twice. She opened it slowly. Her eyes were puffy, her face pale. She didn't speak, just stepped aside to let me in. The place smelled like baby lotion and takeout. A laundry basket sat in the corner. A bassinet waited beside the couch. "You heard?" she asked. "About Kyle?" "Yeah." She sat down carefully. "They took his car, froze his accounts. The cops showed up here asking questions. I told them everything I knew, which wasn't much. I looked around. No sign of Connor. No sign of anyone. You alone?" I asked. She nodded. "Completely." For a moment, neither of us said anything. Then I asked, "Is the baby okay?" Jessica's hand went to her stomach. "Healthy. Kicks a lot. Due in a month." Another pause. "I read your letter," I said. She looked down. "I didn't know if I should send it. You didn't reply." "I wasn't ready." "I get it." I took a deep breath. "You hurt me, Jessica, in ways I don't think you even understand. You broke trust that took years to build." "I know, but I also believe people can change. Slowly, if they want to." Jessica started crying, not loud or dramatic, just quiet, steady tears. "I want to," she whispered. "I don't want to be that person anymore." "You'll have to work for it," I said. She nodded. "I'm not promising anything," I added, "but I don't want your daughter to grow up without knowing who I am." Jessica looked up, shocked. You'd be in her life." "Maybe not as her aunt at first," I said, "but maybe as someone who can show her what survival looks like." We sat in silence for a long time. Then she reached into a drawer and pulled out a framed photo. It was from when we were little, me and Jessica in matching Christmas pajamas, building a blanket fort, smiling. "Oh, I keep this to remind myself," she said, "of who we used to be." I nodded. "We're not those girls anymore," I said, "but maybe we can build something new, better." Jessica wiped her eyes, and for the first time in a long time I saw her, not the liar, the backstabber, the drama queen, just a broken woman trying to pick up her pieces. We hugged, awkwardly, hesitantly, but it was real. Weeks later, I helped her get into a support group for single mothers. I brought groceries sometimes. We didn't talk every day. We didn't pretend it was all okay, but we kept trying. And when her baby girl was born, 7 pounds, brown eyes, named Hope, I was there. Not for Jessica, for Hope. Because in the end, revenge wasn't the final chapter. It was the turning point. The moment I stopped letting others write my story and started writing my own. So here I am, stronger than ever. And if you're out there, heartbroken, betrayed, buried under someone else's choices, remember this. You don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need to destroy to win. Sometimes the loudest revenge is living well and loving yourself louder than they ever expected you to.